Do you plan to travel to Spain in summer 2021? If so, this video is for you.
Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. In this video, we are going to be explaining what Spain is currently like for tourists, for traveling around Spain, for vanlifing Spain, or for just coming to Spain on holidays, and just what it's like during this pandemic, its current restrictions, and everything related. We are going to be explaining what you need to know if you plan on coming to Spain during this summer 2021. Just a quick disclaimer, guys. All the information we're giving in today's video is subject to today, which is currently Sunday the 16th of May. Every day restrictions are changing, COVID's changing, all in different towns and all different regions. So just bear that in mind. By the time you see this video, all the information could be changed again.
Okay guys, so as we said, it's currently Sunday, May 16th. We've been in Spain since October 2020 and we've seen some big changes since then.
Back in October 2020, Spain was hitting COVID cases of 20,000 upwards. Now, in May, we're hitting about 6,300 cases a day. So that's a huge decrease. These case numbers tend to rise and fall all the time. Spain tends to tighten restrictions around public holidays and like Easter and such things, and this brings the cases down, and then when they go to ease restrictions, the cases tend to go up slightly. But overall, there is a massive decrease in COVID cases, which is great.
Each region in Spain has its own rules and restrictions with regards to COVID. During higher levels of restrictions, we aren't allowed to leave the regions, so we were stuck personally between Estepona and the Malaga region and we couldn't leave. Even though there was a time that we couldn't leave Estepona, they started to ease this gently. They opened up Estepona so we could go to different towns around there, then they opened up the Malaga region, and now they've opened up the Andalusia region.
So, as of May the 9th, Spain has lifted their state of alarm. And what this means is that they have lifted a lot of restrictions. There's no more border controls. You can travel freely between Spain's 17 regions, I think it's 17 regions, in and out of towns as you like. However, each town, as Dean mentioned, has their own rules and restrictions. Some towns, like Granada, let's just say in Andalusia, is at level 4 at the moment. They have their perimeter closed. There's a lot of things that they can and cannot do, and this is the case with all the regions throughout Spain. So just bear in mind, if you plan on traveling to a particular area, check that town's COVID status. So now that Spain have lifted their state of alarm, what this means is that generally, there has been a massive increase in people, in movement, in the bars and cafes in towns. We stayed in Valladolid recently and we went for a beautiful walk at night, and we saw that there was disco bars and just bars in general that were jammers. There was hundreds of people inside and out, but the one thing was they were generally wearing their masks. They are within their own groups and they do have their masks around their chin, but when they leave tables, and that is a rule still, anytime you get away from your table, whether you're in a restaurant, a cafe or a disco bar, you must wear your mask. The problem that this has caused at the moment is that there has been an increase in cases, and now the government, they are talking about or looking to bring back in the curfew of 11 p.m. That curfew was scrapped this week, and we have noticed this. Everywhere we have parked, we have noticed young people in general, just partying up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning wherever we are. They're not causing any mayhem, but we definitely notice a difference.
Before this curfew was lifted, after 11 o'clock, it was like a ghost town. We could get a silent night's sleep wherever we went, and you'd swear there was nobody else on the planet after 11 o'clock. Now it's just totally different. Even though these restrictions have mostly been lifted, just to let you know, any town in Spain that has 1,000 COVID cases per 100,000 people, their perimeter is shut. So there still are a few towns throughout Spain that have their perimeter closed, so do bear that in mind. So guys, because we've been here since October 2020, we've been getting a lot of questions on Instagram from people who want to travel to Spain in summer 2021. A lot of the questions are pretty similar. Some of them are camper related, some of them are just Spain related. So we've compiled the top 10 questions that we've gotten from everyone we know, and we put them in this video to try and help you decide if you want to travel to Spain in summer 2021.
No, we have not been stopped since we got to Spain in October 2020. Maybe we're blessed, maybe we've just been lucky, I don't know. We have heard of a lot of other fellow van lifers that have been stopped by the police for several reasons. And just to elaborate more on this question, guys, why the police will stop you. One, if you have a UK registration, the whole situation with Brexit, the police are tending to stop them a lot more just to make sure that their paperwork is up to date and correct. Another reason why the police may stop you is just a general checkpoint. Make sure that all your paperwork's correct, that you have your ID, your logbook, and to make sure that all your lights work correctly and that you have those European headlamp reflectors.
Yes, as the official state of alarm has ended on May 9th, we can now travel freely throughout Spain. One thing we mentioned earlier is that each town will have its own rules and regulations and restrictions for COVID movement. Check out the town you plan to travel to ahead of time just to make sure you still can travel freely throughout that town. But in general, yes, you can travel freely through Spain.
Yes, wild camping throughout Spain is allowed. We have heard from other van lifers in Spain in certain towns that have been moved on, and this could be due to that town's COVID restrictions. We're not sure, but legally it is allowed. We are well aware that Portugal, it is against the law now to wild camp. In Spain, this is allowed. There is hearsay that this might be a law further down the line, but as of now, it is allowed. We actually plan on making a YouTube video very soon about wild camping in Spain versus camping in the airs throughout Spain. So stay tuned for that.
Although most hotels and B&Bs have been closed since October 2020, we're starting to see them open since the start of May. One thing in particular we really have noticed is that cleaning crews are coming in to make sure the pools are clean, make sure the new seats are brought in, everything's being painted, there's pallet wood projects going up everywhere. Everything looks like it's setting up to be a big summer in Spain for 2021. We've also noticed an increase in the people working in the really heavy tourist places like Marbella, like Porto and all along the Costa del Sol. It's really picking up, so I think they're expecting a lot of tourists this year.
The beaches in the Costa del Sol seem to be getting busy. In Marbella and Porto in May, we have seen a massive increase of locals sunbathing and walking around the beach, and all the chiringuitos are opening back up. So yes, beaches are open and they are starting to get busier. The current restrictions regarding wearing masks on beach is that you do not have to wear a mask if you're sunbathing or swimming. However, if you get up from your sun lounger and want to walk around the beach or head into the chiringuitos, you must put on your mask. Can't have mask tan lines. Wouldn't look good, no.
Are you liking this video so far, guys? Have we answered some of your questions already? If we have, please click on the like button below and also consider subscribing to our channel. It also helps if you comment down below or if you share the video. Well, back to the questions. If you asked this question a few months ago, we would have said no. Most towns and cities are not busy. However, as of the end of April, start of May 2021, we find a big increase in how busy the towns and cities are. We've recently been to towns like Salamanca, Cadiz and Valladolid. These towns are really busy now. We are surprised at how busy they were, and like Jenny mentioned earlier, the towns and the nightlife have really started to pick up. It was kind of strange seeing people in nightclubs, you know, we're looking in the window like weirdos, but we saw people with their masks on dancing, having a boogie, which is good to see, but also it's a bit strange. We've noticed a massive increase in the students walking around towns. We can see they hang around in groups and it's just so busy. All the lunch spots, all the parks are busy, the local transport's busy, so it's really picking up. One more thing to mention, if you are coming in your van or in your camper van or whatever you want to do, just understand that some towns, like the bigger cities, are normally welcoming to tourists. They've been waiting for tourists to come in. They're happy to see you. They're happy to, you know, invite you into the clubs, bars, restaurants, cafes. But we have had some bad experiences in smaller towns, the more rural towns. One town we went to in particular recently, we had a pretty bad experience with locals. They saw the Irish reg on our van and they were banging on the window to kind of wake us up in the morning. They're also kind of stopping and staring and looking in our windows and generally making us feel a little bit uncomfortable and a little bit unwelcome. But we have to say this is only one small town we've been in through all of Spain. Generally, it's been really welcoming and we're really happy. But just be aware that in COVID times, the locals and the rural towns, they just might not like people passing through the town for fear that they might catch COVID, which I totally understand.
This is very understandable, guys. We do know their towns have been in lockdown probably for months. And then the last thing they want to do is see two Irish people stroll up in a massive big blue van parking in their airs. Now, we're parking in the places that are dedicated for campers, and there are other campers around us, but we have noticed our van in particular, we don't know is it because of the Irish or foreign reg, we are just assuming this. But we did get awful bangs on the window, and we did get the people coming back looking in our windows while we are in our van staring in, and I panicked a little bit. It was a bit scary, but all again understandable. But please don't knock on our windows, people, please. It's very scary. Yes, cafes, bars and restaurants are very busy, especially in April and May. We have been to restaurants where the tables are absolutely full. Cafes at times are absolutely jammers. We have been in cafes where there's nobody at all. In the smaller towns, it tends to be at certain times of the day, but we have just luckily managed to be in these places when there's nobody in the place except us, and this is great for us. As we mentioned, the bars in the bigger cities are absolutely packed now with people and the music is blaring out into the streets, and then there's towns where not much is really happening at all. With the previous restrictions, tables were set to a maximum of 4 people indoors and 6 people outdoors. Now that the state of alarm has been lifted in Spain since the 9th of May, there is no maximum capacity to tables outdoors. Indoors, we're still a little bit uncertain about that, but there is no maximum to gatherings, and we have really seen this. There are groups and groups and groups of people at loads of different tables outside, and everybody's just catching up, and they're so happy that restrictions are ended, and it's great for them. Top tip, guys, if you are coming to Spain and you're planning on going out to eat or cafes, during siesta time is the best time. The towns are packed in the morning time, and then at around 2 o'clock all the shops close for a few hours and the towns are emptied. This is the best time we have found to go for a coffee or go for an early dinner or lunch or whatever, and then the shops reopen between 5 and 6 p.m. and all the crowds start piling in again. So if you want to avoid the crowds, go at the siesta time.
This is by far one of the most popular questions that we've gotten since we got the ferry over from Ireland to Spain in October. The ferry from Ireland to Spain had stopped in December 2020, just before Christmas. The sailings will only resume on May 19th, 2021 and will keep going all the way through until I think October of this year. Our ferry cost us €475 in October to come from Rosslare to Bilbao. This was a one-way ticket. We've currently booked our ferry home from Bilbao to Rosslare, and it's a little bit more expensive at €617 one way. Because we're booking it in peak season, as in the summertime, that's why it's more expensive. The height and width of the van will determine how much the ferry costs. If you're over 6 meters, 7 meters, whatever it might be long, you're in a higher bracket of payment. If you have any fur babies you want to bring over into your holiday, like cats and dogs, they charge an extra €30 per cabin.
Yes, as of now, you still need a negative PCR test within 72 hours prior to travelling. Spain are now debating whether people who are vaccinated need to get a negative PCR test or not. So that's still in the works. Maybe in a couple of months' time, if you are fully vaccinated, you may not need to get a PCR test. But as of today, yes, you still need a negative PCR test. There are clinics all around Spain that you can get your PCR test, and they're around 100 to 150 euros. If you are flying, it's amazing price. At the airports, it's only 58 euros to get your PCR test. We unfortunately aren't flying, so we are not allowed to get our PCR test. So we have had to book a test in a clinic in Bilbao, and it's around 119 euros per person.
Yes, there is a maximum driving speed for a camper van, which is 100 kilometers per hour. Even if the road you're driving on is 120 kilometers per hour for cars, You have to stay at 100 kilometers per hour, otherwise the police can pull you over, stop the camper and fine you. Be very careful with this one, guys. We didn't know too much about it before we came over, so we're glad we found out now.
Another piece of advice, guys, is you still have to wear your masks everywhere throughout Spain, in public places and indoors. So please remember, bring plenty of masks with you, or when you get to Spain, buy your masks here. Masks in Spain are so much cheaper. You can buy the mask, the same ones you buy at home, for about 10 to 11 cents per mask. That is very cheap. We have stocked up on a lot of masks to bring back home to Ireland. So just make sure you have your mask on all throughout Spain. Outdoors, going for walks, everywhere.
Well guys, that's all the questions that we got from you. We hope this video sums up everything that you needed to know to travel to Spain in summer 2021. If you have any other questions that we haven't answered in this video, please put a comment below and let us know. We'd love to help you out and we'll answer any question we can, so make sure you do.
Well guys, to sum all of this up, we feel very safe traveling around Spain in 2021, and we feel like you should also feel safe. As long as you adhere to all the rules and restrictions and guidelines, you will have absolutely no problem on your holiday, your van life trip, or whatever reason it is that you're coming to Spain.
We think Spain is definitely ready for tourists this summer.
Well guys, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, we really hope it's helped you out in any way possible. And yeah, thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye!